Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to What in the World is Going On. My name is Burl McQueen. I'm your host, and I'm here today to talk about the BidenHarris failures. Let's get started. The United States Senate and the Obama administration had to know Joe Biden is as corrupt as they come during his 50-year reign through the political ranks. His bumbling rhetoric, nonsense, and detrimental bills and laws he has headed created a grave impact on African Americans and society as a whole. It may appear that I am making statements regarding the Biden-Harris administration to use them as an scapegoat. That is far from the truth. We will let their record speak for itself. Although they are prime examples of how absolute power corrupts, there are many other politicians on the federal, state, and local level who are just as corrupt and career politicians. Administration, I want to show why term limits, along with bills and laws, should be passed based only on the Constitution. While listening to this content, bear in mind that civics is no longer taught in schools. In return, the American society has been dumbed down. Laissez-faire is no longer taught, meaning that government policy should not interfere with the operation of natural economic laws. Therefore, when a business fails, they are bought out or another person or business takes their place. Too big to fail and government bailouts on the taxpayer's dime is not constitutional. Laissez-faire within the Constitution support the idea that people should be free to choose how they conduct their business without too much control from the government. Unregulated businesses, corporations, can lead to corruption also. Let's discuss a few facts regarding the restoration of the American economy. The dollar should be returned to the gold standard. Returning to the gold standard would create price stability. This is a long-term advantage that make it harder for the government to inflate prices by expanding the money supply. Also, eliminate that NGO, non-government organization, called the Federal Reserve. Returning to the gold standard and the elimination of the Federal Reserve would prevent excessive money printing, which reduce the U.S. trade deficit and military spending. Demand a balanced budget each year from the federal, state, and local government. The United States of America will become a sovereign nation in terms of self-production and great sacrifice to balance the budget within a short period of time. The problem with capitalism, if not monitored, is greed. Business 101, all corporations reach the maturity stage. Therefore, they must rebuild, move lateral, fall, or make room for innovation. Allied nations would be encouraged to do the same to reserve their sovereignty as well. Going on the gold standard along with 4-year term limits for the Congress and Senate will hold those politicians financially accountable and beholden to we the people of their district. Every tight financial control can be placed on civil servants along with the 10-year term limit with the 80% salary pension plan. These measures are more dignified, productive, and patriotic opposed to fighting wars in various BRICS nations. Gained from a depression are more stable, appreciated, innovated through the process of reconstruction. Pride among the American citizens can be at an all-time high during a reconstruction period, opposed to the loss of life, limb, and property fighting wars. The devastation in areas such as Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, Beirut, Hades, and some countries in Africa bear witness to the horrors of war. The Biden-Harris administration has not laid a foundation for Build Back Better. During their 4 years in office, so far the administration has given us an undetermined peace plan while building up for war in Ukraine and the Middle East. They have spent billions of dollars in Ukraine, Israel, and the illegal migrant who have crossed the borders. The money spent by the Biden-Harris administration has contributed greatly to the $35 trillion debt that America has consumed. For many, electing Joe Biden represented a return to normal moderation, unity, and incompetence. Unfortunately, the Biden-Harris administration has ushered in moderate policies and staggering incompetence. The list of Biden failures is long. Listed are highlights of that list. Number 1, that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Biden-Harris administration pulled out our troops before getting out civilians and green card holders. Then he had to send troops back in to help them get out. On top of that, the Biden-Harris administration failed to get everyone out, despite promising to do so. The Biden-Harris administration also left billions of dollars in arms, vehicles, and equipment in the hands of the Taliban, abandoned a strategic base in the fight against terrorism, and orchestrated the release of hardcore terrorist prisoners. 2, the southern borders of the United States was a disaster for the Biden-Harris administration. The number of illegal immigrants that crossed the border, as well as asylum seekers, numbered in the tens of thousands for the Biden-Harris administration. To add insult to injury, the Biden-Harris administration removed the border walls that were built and put in place by the previous administration. Number 3, the Biden administration has created insurmountable inflation. Prices are rising steeply with no ending in sight. The Biden-Harris administration had created a cruel tax on the poor and those on fixed income. Biden wanted to spend trillions more, which will make inflation even worse. The American economy is suffering from massive supply chain bottlenecks, with ships waiting weeks to get into ports and a shortage of workers and truck drivers to deal with them once they get in. The Biden-Harris energy policy have created high energy prices. The Biden-Harris canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, which employed 11,000 people. The oil that would have come through the pipeline will be costlier and by more polluting, meaning transportation by trucks and rails. The Biden-Harris administration restricted domestic oil and gas production, leading to higher gas and heating prices. Biden called on OPEC and Russia to supply more oil and gas in order to reduce those prices. America has plenty of gas and oil under our feet. It's just a matter of exploring. 4, the Biden-Harris administration embraced identity politics in the federal bureaucracy. Many of his apprentices have been selected based on their race, sex, and LGBT status, not because they were the most qualified persons available. 5, the Biden-Harris administration has mishandled the COVID-19 pandemic. The most notable regarding COVID-19 was unconstitutional ordering of a vaccine mandate, a move that previously the president said he would never make. As a result, the country is faced with the resignation and firing of police officers, firefighters, healthcare workers, and armed forces personnel. To make matters worse, despite the availability of vaccines, more people have died of COVID-19 during Biden's presidency than during Trump's. 6, the Biden-Harris administration has thoroughly politicized the enforcement of federal law. His Justice Department failed to treat equal offenders equally. It issued harsh punishment and lengthy pretrial detentions to those who, on January 6, broken into the Capitol, few of whom engaged in any violence or destruction of property, being guilty at most of trespassing and destruction of governmental proceedings, offenses which have been frequently committed by left-wing groups. Finally, it is worth commenting on Biden's character. Biden is prone not to just to embellishing the truth, but to outright lie. The Biden-Harris campaign lied about his son Hunter's laptop, saying that well-substantiated reports of his contents was Russia disinformation. He lied about Hunter's business dealings, including possible influence peddling with the Chinese. He lied about what Donald Trump said regarding the Charlottesville protests. He lied about Kyle Rittenhouse, claiming the teenager was a white supremacist before his trial even began. Throughout his political career, he has plagiarized and told lies about things he is supposed to have done but didn't do. Biden has had no success as president, and within the last 4 years, with the exception of spending money. But as the above list will attest to, he has produced a lifetime worth of major failures in less than 4 years. America cannot survive 4 more years of the Biden administration with Kamala Harris as president. Thank you for tuning in to What in the World is Going On. Please like and subscribe.